Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again to Goonies World. I am Meanie, also known as Ryan, and joining me, as always, Johnny Faro, also known as Sean.
Hello there, everybody.
And Goonie himself, also known as Colin.
Hey.
And this series, we are returning to one of our favorite locations in beautiful Northern California. Well, beautiful when there's not raging wildfires and nonsense going on. But the town and environs about Jupiter Springs, a fictional location where our friends Merlin Grubb, also known as Plunger, and Dickey Newton live, and as well as their friend Chip. But Chip is way too cool to attend Owl Camp, or he thinks he is anyway. And so, he never goes. You guys still are down with it. You're not too old for it just yet, anyway. And so I think we start with sort of an establishing shot, sort of an overhead, sort of scene of chaos as there are just dozens and dozens of kids sort of wandering around on the ground, and there's all these sort of cabins and large redwood trees in the area, and pines and whatnot. And there is a big sign that says, declares that this is in fact Big Hooters Campground, and beneath that has been hung a banner that says, "Welcome to Owl Camp 1980X." And we zoom down into a bitchin' Camaro, where seated in the passenger seat is one Plunger next to Derek, his older brother, who is currently listening and has been listening to their latest, the Derek and the Dingleberries' latest release, and he pops it out of the cassette player and says, "Yeah, man. So, what do you think of the new stuff?"
As I told you the first time that you played it, I love it. I think it's brilliant. I think you're a genius. And also, the same thing I told you on the 137th time that you've played it for me. I still think that it's brilliant. I still think you're a genius. Unfortunately, it's not my style. I prefer, synth music and electronica, as well as archaic musical forms. I'm still experimenting with some 16th century Spanish notation. I'm trying to read so I can play it on the recorder, but in general, no, rock and roll per se, Derek, as you're well aware, it's not entirely my thing, but I do think it's very cool to have such a bitchin' cool brother, because if it wasn't for you, I would have been beaten senseless by now. Let's just face it.
Yeah, man, I know, but hey, well, just keep it on the down low, right? But I've been kind of working on a side project lately.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of more like a jazz thing.
Jazz, I feel that I could respect it, but with all my other researches and studies, I've never had time to delve too deeply into it. Perhaps I shall tune into the local public radio station, which I understand has a jazz night. So that's very interesting. What's the name of this jazz project? Have you come up with a name yet?
No, but I've started learning all sorts of like new chords and stuff, and like new progressions. Because all my stuff right now is basically just like power chords, right? And so I'm trying to get a little more sort of experimental,
Yes. Well, I'd advise you to steer clear of the circular 7/5. That particular conjunction of notes does create some mind control, according to some sources. However, you would need 6 fingers, so I don't think we need to worry too much about it.
Yeah, I definitely don't have 6 fingers. Hey, what the hell is taking so long, man? He kind of looks up ahead, you've been sitting in this. The line had been moving pretty reasonably, up until this point. Kid just gets dropped off and the parent drives away. But you've kind of been sitting here for a bit of time waiting at this point, and Derek just looks kind of confused, and some people behind you begin sort of honking a little bit, and that does seem to sort of propel the line forward a bit, and you do eventually get up to the drop-off point.
Sounds like someone's making a terrible fuss in the line.
Yeah, well, things happen.
Well, it reminds me a little too much of the parent pickup line at Jupiter Springs Junior High School. I've seen something like this before. I have my suspicions. But listen, brother, thank you so much, and you don't forget to pick me up.
Of course, yeah.
Yes, I've set the modem on my computer to call you and give you several reminders throughout the week.
Thanks, man. That probably won't be necessary, but it's appreciated. But anyway, man, have fun. I know you're really, into the owl camp thing, so have a great time, man.
Very well. Thank you.
Anyway, you were sort of released into the chaos of all these kids milling about and camp counselors hollering, if your last name begins with A through F, please get into line 1. And, put their arms sort of directing into the direction of line 1. H through N, please get into line 2.
I'm going to keep my eye on that line, by the way, not to interrupt, but I need to keep my eye out for my partner.
Yes. O through Z, please get into line 3. O through Z, line 3. If you aren't sure what your name is, what you're doing here, or you have some other question, please get into line 4. And so I assume you head in the direction of line 2.
Yes, I'll go into my designated line like a plebeian, like a drone. You see how this mind control starts early, even reach the owl camp. Of course, the subtleties of this will be lost on Dickey, who's going to be terrified without me there to guide him. I need to keep my eye out for him.
And, alright, so we will rewind a few minutes. And we see Dickey sitting in the passenger seat of his mom's car. What kind of car do you think she drives?
Station wagon.
Yeah, that I could totally see like a Woody, like an 80s style Woody wagon with like wood paneling and stuff.
My family had one in the 80s.
Yep, so did mine. We were like the Griswolds.
Yep.
Yep. And she's you're progressing through the queue line to get to the drop-off point. And she's been just constantly berating you with questions and making sure that you've got this and that and everything. And
I've got enough underwear.
Are you sure, Dickey?
Oh, I'm sure, Mother.
Well, it would be terrible if you ran out of clean underwear,
I know, I've got way too much underwear, actually. So, don't worry about it.
Do you have the anti-diarrhea medication that I got for you?
I've got that hidden because I don't want the other kids to know, but I sure brought it. Don't worry.
Well, there's nothing to be ashamed of, Dickey. Do you have the water purification tablets in case you get lost in the forest?
Yes, I've got all that. Don't worry so much.
Well, you know that there are bears in these woods.
Oh, I know all about bears and all the wilderness creatures. I'm an expert, so you don't have to concern yourself about that.
Okay, well, you're supposed to play dead, I believe, if it's a black bear. Yes, is that
no?
Is that
That's
right, Dickey?
wrong.
Oh.
No, Mother. If it's a black bear, you have to basically fight it off, because only grizzly bears do you play dead. It doesn't work on black bears, Mother.
Oh, Dickey, well, you can't fight a bear. Blair. Oh, Dickey, you can't fight a bear.
Well, if I run, it'll get me, but if I stay and fight, I might have a chance. You don't underestimate me, Mother.
But, Dickey, a bear is massive and weighs thousands of pounds.
Yeah, but I have been training. You don't even know, Mom. I don't want to bother you, though. I don't want you to be concerned, but some friends of mine, you know Chip, he's taught me some... It's safe, okay, so... but it's just, self-defense, basically.
Well, that Chip, he seems like a rough sort of character. I don't think he could fight a bear, though.
Well, maybe not Chip, but I think I've surpassed his skills and knowledge. But yeah, Chip is from he's from the other side of the tracks. But don't worry, we've been really, me and Plunger are good for him. He's becoming more like us, and he's a good boy now.
Well, okay. And at this point, people started getting impatient. A couple horns sound behind you, and that seems to kind of startle your mother. And she, "Oh, Dickey, well, I guess you better get going."
Yeah, I think it's time, Mother.
Well, have fun and be safe, and I just don't get eaten by a bear.
Nope, I won't, and I've got all the emergency contacts, and I've got all the first aid kits and all that stuff. I am ready to go, and don't you worry. I think, I better go now, Mom.
All right, have fun, Dickey, and have fun with your friend Plunger.
All right, see ya, Mom.
And you are also turned loose into the crowd, where you get herded off towards presumably line 2 as well, as your name also falls into that range. And you get in that line, and you are joined very shortly by Plunger.
Oh, man. I'm so glad you made it to Owl Camp and you're not at Fat Camp.
That's right. No, there will be no Stout Oaks for me this year. Of course, I've traded places with Homer Hines. I need to make sure I'm in the right line for the letter H. Don't let me forget to do that, by the way. If I have I made a trade with him. We worked a little something out.
Yeah,
I gave him Derek's old mini bike, and I arranged for him to have a 2-year subscription to Starlog magazine. Interview with Kurt Russell next month. Anyway, it's good to have you here. I assume your mother gave you the litany already. I assume this is why I was sitting listening to my brother talk to me about freeform jazz in the car.
Yeah, that was my mom. All right, she created a traffic jam, but I got out of there, and I actually brought you something.
You did?
Since I know that you wouldn't be able to because you were under the guise of going to Fat Camp. I procured some...
You didn't.
Some fluff. Oh, yes.
Oh.
I had to smuggle it myself in because even my mom was like, saying I couldn't eat the stuff because I wasn't supervised.
Well, don't worry, I'll supervise you. Don't worry. Yeah, that's going to be great.
I got one jar for me and one jar for you.
A jar each? We are going to get so fluffed up. What happens at Owl Camp stays at Owl Camp in terms of the fluff.
Yeah.
And a tall kid in the line in front of you, tall blonde kid, turns around and says, "Did I hear right there? Now, do we got a couple fluff smugglers over here?"
Shh, keep it down.
Fluff, it's an acronym. It's this little code we have. Don't worry about it. There's no fluff smuggling going on.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that I heard that there was some illicit fluff going on.
Well,
but I'll it's none of my business now.
Are you a fellow fluff aficionado, sir?
I do appreciate some fluff from time to time. What's your name, son? My name's Benny King.
Is that the only name you go by? No strange nicknames or anything? I myself go by Plunger. Again, sort of a code name.
Plunger?
Yeah,
Why,
but-
that's a strange sounding name to me.
But, don't get him confused with this other Plunger guy. This guy's name is Homer. Right?
Oh, that's right. Dickey, you were a lifesaver as usual. And there's a reason why I teamed up with you. Oh, sorry, this blonde stranger has discombobulated me. But, anyway, Mr. Ben, where do you hail from? I don't believe I've seen you at Owl Camp before.
No, this is my first time at Owl Camp. We relocated here recently from Charleston, South Carolina.
I see.
And he looks like he's probably a little bit older.
I was just gonna say, ask him how old he is, but I think I can tell he's older.
You're certainly at the upper age range of the Owl Camp for this session. I imagine you'll be with the teens next year.
Oh, I suppose that's probably true.
Yeah.
So, you're real into owls?
Well, not so much. I mean, owls are cool and everything, but
I
I'm
knew
mostly
it.
here.
I knew you weren't here for the owls. I can spot someone who's just here for the camp life. Is that it?
Well, was that an owl pun?
Was it? I don't think so. I talk about owls so much I don't know if it's pun or not.
Well, the spotted owl. Anyway,
Oh, spotted owls are in these woods, of course. But they're endangered, as you know.
well, I'm not an owl aficionado like yourself, Dickey, but I think I'm probably here just to be out of my parents' hair, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes, that's how parents are.
I didn't tell him my name, and
Well, your friend Plunger said your name, Dickey. That's how I just figured it out by osmosis, you know.
Yes,
wow,
well,
that's pretty impressive.
yes, that's pretty impressive detective work, actually. You've got a quick mind. Was it Benny King? Was that what you said your name was?
That's right, Benny King.
Benny King. Oh, very well. All right, Benny. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
As you. he
Wonder what
says.
cabin we're going to be assigned.
And you find that out very shortly as you get up to the front of the line and, they ask your name and we don't have to role play out the whole process, but you get a lanyard with a name tag on it. And Dickey and Homer are assigned to the Northern Spotted Owl Cabin.
Oh, yes.
Sweet. Best one. Yes.
And your new friend, Benny, is assigned to the Great Horned Owl Cabin. And
Not bad.
Not bad.
so
Just not
You
very
were-
rare, of course. I mean, a dime a dozen, those great horned owls, but not so much for the spotted owls.
indeed. And so you are free at that point to basically go to your you're gonna go put your stuff up, and basically there's nothing really to do until dinner because everybody's basically busy, continuing to check everybody in and all this stuff. So you kind of have some free time to maybe meet your bunkmates, because there's the 4 to a cabin, and you guys got lucky to be assigned to the same one, but there's going to be 2 other kids in there with you, presumably.
Well, let's get in there quickly and secure the best bunks. Now, I think
Yes.
probably best if I sleep on the bottom bunk after last year's fiasco. Still sorry about that sprained wrist.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I really probably should be going to Stout Oaks now that we think about it.
Well, there's always next summer. But this summer, it's all about Owl Camp because, this is, we're growing, we're aging. This is the time of our life. So let's appreciate it.
That's right. This is right. And hey, you're right. We got to take Owl Camp seriously. It's not just for any chump. Owl Camp is for men.
That's right.
That's right.
This is strictly for men, serious men.
Now, I assume you brought other supplies besides the precious fluff? I brought my Polaroid camera in case we get a look at the owlbear. I'm still working on that theory. And,
yes, let's do some checks. Okay.
okay. First of all, radio, check.
Radio, check.
Okay. Flashlight, check.
Check.
Swiss Army knife, check.
I knew I didn't have one, but I knew you had one, so, yeah.
That's good, that's good. Boy Scout field book, check.
I don't have that, but I have the owl identification field guide, check.
Well, for those of us who don't already have that committed to memory, I suppose we should probably need it.
Well, it's mostly for other people to show them and prove that I'm right.
Oh, yes, I see. That makes so much more sense. And finally, perhaps not counting my conspiracy journal, the most important thing is I do have the Druids of the Dragondale core rulebook with the Druid Master's Guide supplements in case we meet any fellow gamers here.
Yeah, I suppose we can get in some games, but, I brought some dice just in case.
That's good, because I forgot my dice. I can't believe myself. I should have myself committed.
We might even be able to do some live-action role-playing.
Now you're talking. Now you're talking. This is something I've been working on for quite some time. I've already developed quite a few concrete ideas about this.
So, let's see. Did we mention binoculars? I brought my owl-watching binoculars.
That's good. I knew you would, so I didn't need to bring mine.
And I brought my Fisher-Price cassette player in case we need to record owl calls or whatever,
or
listen to
with some
stuff.
other evidence, such as the grunting and growlings of an owlbear.
Well, possibly. I know owlbears certainly exist in fantasy realms. We'll have to see if they exist in these woods. We know about certain things that exist in these woods.
That's true. That's true.
No, I don't even know if we should talk about it, but we all know.
Well, I assume you brought the laser gun.
Actually, that's something I was going to bring up with you. I've retired, Laser Man. For now, I think I've moved on. But don't worry, I have another tool, you could say, a weapon of sorts. It's the, I will call the robot claw.
And in case people don't know what I'm talking about and didn't have the toy as I did in the 80s, it's just one of those, like a plastic arm, and you hold one end and squeeze it, and then it would close these, open and close these, pincher claw things.
Yeah, I think you can still get one, at Chuck E. Cheese for, 37 tickets.
Yeah, I'm sure they're still around, and but they were definitely big in the 80s.
Well, the claw certainly has a bit more utility than the gun. But
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Are you going with a whole change of secret identity? A rebranding, as it were?
Yes, I think so.
Well, what's your new name going to be? Claw Boy or what?
Man, possibly. I'm working on some different names. I haven't decided on anything yet.
I have to tell you, as a partnership, I wish you had consulted me before making such a unilateral decision about one of our core character elements here. But on the other hand, you've got to be free. I'm a big believer in personal freedom. I am a libertarian, as you're well aware.
Yes, I know. Now, oh yes, a compass I have acquired. Check.
Okay.
And
again, for those of us who are not born with absolute direction, I can see where a compass would be useful.
Yeah. And graham crackers.
Oh yeah.
Well, yes, and I think that's it. Oh yeah. Well, Of course, I always carry this, the evidence of what we saw flying off our Polaroid camera pictures of the alien evidence of, UFO evidence.
Yeah, you don't need to tell me. In fact, it's more than evidence in my mind, proof. But like so much other proof, it must, for the good of mankind, remain our secret for now.
Yes, and I figured it's got to be on our person at all times in case the men in black come looking for it.
And you've got to be ready to defend that with your life. If you're going to be the custodian, with your life.
Yes, I take it very seriously.
That's good. I hope that they don't stick us with some real, terrible roomies here.
And speaking of that, I imagine this sort of conversation and the sort of checklist and, equipment cataloging going on as you're sort of slowly walking towards your cabin, where you have now arrived, and it appears to be occupied already.
Well,
perhaps some people got here a little earlier.
I see.
Well, let's see. We have to share a bunk. I'm not sharing a bunk with someone else.
Yeah, that would be very disturbing. Hopefully we'll be able to work the situation out. Hello, roomies, I guess.
Yeah, so you open the door and step into the cabin, and you see a kind of a skinny kid laying on one of the bunks with a book open, reading it. He's got a distinctive green bag sitting on the bed next to him that looks like it has a helping hand character on it. Apparently he's got a helping hand backpack from Cape City, of course.
Cape City Comics, sure.
Right.
Okay, check. That bodes well.
And he just kind of looks up from his book and kind of gives you a little bit of a nod as you step in. And and he's on the bottom bunk on the left side of the room, and then on the bottom bunk on the right side of the room, there's a kind of a little blonde kid who looks like he's probably a little bit younger than you. And when you enter, he jumps up and says, "Oh, hey, I wasn't like calling dibs on the bottom bunk or anything. Like if one of you guys wants it, like that's cool. Like I can take one of the top bunks. Like that's cool."
Yeah, we're Owl Camp veterans, so
that's right.
I think we Plunger. I think. Homer.
My name's Homer Hines. I go by Plunger.
Yeah, but there's another Plunger that's fatter, and he's at Fat Camp.
There could be several Plungers in existence, for all we know.
Yeah, there's multi dimensions and many Plungers.
That's correct.
So you're Plunger then, and what's your name? What's your name, dude?
Dickey Newton.
Dickey Newton. Okay, cool. Well, I'm Elliot. I'm Elliot, and that's DJ over there. But he doesn't talk much.
Well, I can see he's a man who appreciates a good Cape City comic.
That's one thing I didn't even bring because I didn't think we would even get time to get to that with all the other stuff we're doing.
Yes, no, yeah, I agree totally. Elliot, yes, you should probably take the bunk above DJ, because I should definitely be on the bottom, and Dickey and I have been long-term bunkmates. It just wouldn't be Owl Camp without Dickey on top of me.
Yeah, okay, well, that's cool. Yeah, no problem, dude. And he grabs his bag and climbs up to the top bunk above DJ.
Look at the little fella. I bet it's your first summer at Owl Camp, isn't it, Elliot?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I've never been to Owl Camp. I've never even seen an owl. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
You've never even seen an owl?
Well, I mean, I've seen like pictures, but I mean, not like in real life.
Gentlemen, we have an owl virgin.
Well, if I could go back to when I hadn't seen an owl and then I saw an owl for the first time, I'd give anything.
Yeah, we envy you. We envy you, your lack of experience. What about you, DJ? Is this your first time at owl camp?
He looks up from his book. No, I was here last year.
I didn't make your acquaintance last year.
No, you must have stuck to yourself.
Yes.
I normally do.
And if you don't mind me asking, what book is so engrossing? What's that you've got there?
And he holds it up, and it's Fellowship of the Ring.
Okay, very good. Okay. I think we're going to get along just fine. We've got Helping Hand, we've got some Tolkien, we've got a Virgin, we've got like a cool loner dude here. I think this is going to be a good summer. This is shaping up to be a great owl camp.
It's going to be the best.
It's going to be the best owl camp ever. Gentlemen, Dickey, I think we can afford to be a little bit generous in this moment. Who wants to get a little bit fluffed up?
Okay. Kid, I'm going to... how old are you?
10, 11? I don't know. I didn't make up that part.
I don't know. 10, 11 sounds about right. It'd be...
Yeah, you look about 10 to me.
You look about 10. Yeah, you look about 10.
So, what I'm about to bring out of my backpack and show you has to remain here in this cabin. No one else can know.
Is it a porno?
No, it's better than that. Okay, so this is called marshmallow fluff, and it's very potent, and I think you better take it easy for your first time. I'm assuming you're a virgin at this as well.
Yeah, just give him a little taste, just a little taste.
I think a spoonful is all it'll take, and you'll be bouncing off the rafters.
How about you, DJ? Care for a little fluff?
I guess I'll try it.
Try it on a graham cracker. You look like a graham cracker man.
Yeah, there you can spread it on graham crackers.
I think he can handle it. I think DJ looks like he can handle just about anything.
Okay,
let's divvy up.
So you hand out some marshmallow fluff. So you're gonna put it on a cracker for DJ, which he eats, and he looks like he approves. He kind of, not bad, he says. But Elliot, or you just give him like literally a spoon, like a spoonful on a spoon.
Yeah.
Well, he eats it, and he kind of looks around. He's like, "Well, okay, that's really good. When's it gonna kick in?"
Well, in a little bit, I think. Maybe you have a weird body or something.
It does require a somewhat sophisticated palate to truly appreciate the subtleties of the sugar high that is marshmallow fluff, but you must give some time for it to metabolize, young grasshopper.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll be fluffed up and not even know it. So it's a very subtle change, and you have to be aware. You have to be self-conscious, you know.
Yeah, I think it's working. I think I'm starting to feel.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm starting to feel fluffed up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
That's good, because if you're going to go out and hunt the owlbear with me later, you're going to have all your energies with you. I'm not saying it's going to happen tonight, but I'm going to be doing a little owlbear hunting. I assume that you gentlemen have heard the local legend of the owlbear.
No? Isn't that like a Druids of Dragondale monster or something?
Yes, it is, but in truth, an actual owlbear was created by the United States Army. This was 1978, I believe, and it was there were some strange things during the Vietnam conflict that our soldiers witnessed over there, perhaps something akin to a werebat, as noted in some reports. But no, actually, the owlbear was created by the Army. It was escaped from a chemical facility in Oregon and is rumored to be haunting this area. Has been responsible for several deaths, and there have been several sightings, and I'm planning on keeping my eyes open for it, that's all. Surely you've heard about this. What about you, DJ? You've never heard of the owlbear of the Toloa Pines?
No.
Well, you stick with us. We'll open your eyes to a world you never imagined.
Yeah, I mean, especially when we're out hiking. Of course, you know about the buddy system, but I think the more the better, the safer. Especially with people like us, because you don't never know what's out there in those woods. You could get eaten alive.
Yes, we've got to stick together. We're like a party of adventurers. Like DJ, he's clearly the elf, right? I'm, of course, the wise wizard.
No. I'm Wendell Woolbeard, of course, always, and I'm a druid, but he's really, it's basically a wizard.
Well, we won't split hairs. My point is we need to stick together. And we have our little halfling now here, young Elliot.
Yeah.
And so, yes, we'll stick together. It's just all for one and one for all, cabin buddies.
Do you really think that there's an owlbear in Toloa Pines?
I don't just think there's an owlbear. I'm quite convinced of it. Here,
Yes.
let me show
Be
you
certain
something.
of it. I'm a little bit more skeptical, but I'm willing to entertain the idea.
And I'm going to take out my conspiracy journal and show him, like, newspaper clippings of, missing hikers and some stories like that. It may or may not. They're just so tangentially related to it, but in Plunger's mind, And there's like sketches of the owlbear, sample of a little tiny envelope, sample that looks like dirt in a little envelope that's glued into the journal that supposedly got some scat, of an owlbear, but might just be a dirt clod, who knows. And I show all that to Elliot and TJ if TJ pays attention, but he doesn't seem like he probably cares that much.
No, he is more interested in his book, but Elliot is enamored and seemingly terrified of this. I mean, he clearly, as you're an older kid, so he, is willing to believe whatever you're saying, and well, I mean, that's pretty scary, man. I hope we don't run into that thing.
Oh, well, there's every chance that we will, despite Dickey's skepticism.
Well, and if that happens, we all better be prepared. We better set traps, actually. That was what I was going to do if I get any free time. Set some booby traps around camp. Not too close to the cabins, of course. We need to get out where the owlbear might, where its habitat might be. It's not going to be too close to the camp area.
No, I agree. But of course, it's like a buffet here right now, though, so you never know.
Yeah, if it gets really hungry, it might come in at night and eat some kids and then go back into the woods.
That's right. If it gets into this cabin, they always go for the little ones first. Now Plunger's just being a dick. It pleases him a little bit to, yeah.
You guys know what to do, right? I mean, you can fight it off or something. I mean, maybe, right?
Oh yeah, check this out. And he's gonna bring out his robot claw.
Cool.
Yep, totally doubles the arm length.
Yeah, and I almost forgot about these. I didn't write them on my character sheet, but I would have them. And I've got the nunchucks.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
of course.
And I pull them out, and I do some, like I swing them around like he swings them around like he knows what he's a serious look on his face. He's just waving it around, but, You mean, yes, I have plenty of combat skills, thank you. I've been trained. Been trained by actual martial arts experts.
Dude, are you like a ninja?
A ninja. No, I'm something far beyond a ninja. My
We
friend.
know a ninja.
We do know a ninja. We know somebody with excellent ninja skills. Unfortunately, Owl Camp was not really for them. And apparently they rather go vampire hunting, I guess.
Well, you call it vampire hunting. I don't think he thinks of it like that, but
Well, I'm speaking very ironically.
yeah.
Yes. There's some Anne Rice vampirism going on there, I'll tell you that much.
But I will say, Plunger, since I am older than you, I am going through some changes, and I'm going to have my eyes not just on the owls this summer. I will be keeping an eye out on the lovely ladies as well.
Well, at least you're not artificially darkening your arm and leg hairs still.
I was never doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But the sun bleached them, and you can't see them anymore.
Listen, I'm no stranger to the softer sex. As you're well aware, I carry on a romantic correspondence with actress Kim Fields, who plays Tootie on The Facts of Life. I've shown you the letters she sent me, the photograph of herself.
I think that's your uncle or something.
That was that. I cannot think of anything more disturbing. But no, that doesn't tally. That doesn't match. I do have an uncle who is incarcerated, but not for anything like that. And that's a whole nother story.
Well, you've told me all about your uncle and all his exploits and all that.
Yeah, I won't bother you with that right now.
So, you have these sort of, conversations in the cabin, and DJ just doesn't. I mean, he just doesn't seem to be paying attention to anything but his book. But Elliot is just engrossed by everything Plunger says, seemingly, and he's kind of almost a little bit annoying. It's sort of like asking questions, and I'm not really role-playing that out too much because we're taking up a lot of time. I didn't want to, take up too much more. But you know the type where he's like, oh man, you really, you. So you have a friend who's a ninja, and like, and your uncle's in jail. Like, what did you? Oh my gosh, what did he do? And just all that kind of stuff.
Not what he did; it's something he knows, and that's all we're going to say.
And but eventually, it becomes time for the dinner bell, which rings. Apparently, they've gotten everybody pretty much checked in, and of course, as veterans of Owl Camp, you know that this means that all of the campers need to head to the Great Gray Owl Hall and get in line. I mean, it's just a giant sort of cafeteria, basically. So you just line up and you get in line, and when you get up there, they slap, some meatloaf and mashed potatoes and green beans in this tray and hand it over to you. And
Well, I was hoping for Salisbury steak, but meatloaf is also pretty good.
It's an acceptable substitute.
Yeah.
Salisbury steak is going to be what is it? Two nights from now. 2 nights from now, it's Salisbury steak night.
There you go.
Good to know.
Good to know. Mark that on the calendar.
And so you are handed your trays of meatloaf and such, and a little carton of milk, like, elementary school or whatever. You could choose white milk or chocolate milk, of course.
Do you even need to ask? Of course I choose chocolate milk.
Of course. Everybody does.
Listen, chocolate milk is actually much, much better for you. It's a complete lie. It's a conspiracy led by the white milk producers.
It contains more vitamins and minerals.
Absolutely true. In fact, I would go so far as to call white milk unhealthy.
And you, I assume, sit down together, and of course Elliot grabs a seat near you guys. You don't know where DJ is. He's off by himself, probably. But as you're sitting there starting to eat, another kid comes and sits down. Another familiar kid sits down near you guys and says, "Oh, meatloaf, eh? Well, I guess you can't win them all."
No, you can't. Good evening, Mr. King. How are you finding your cabin?
Well, it's all right now. I can't say I got too lucky with my cabin mates, but it is what it is.
Yeah, we hit the jackpot. Yeah, we got some great. We got a really cool one. And he's not here because that's how cool he is. He's just so cool. He's beyond these sort of social gatherings. But you yourself seem like quite a gregarious fellow.
Yeah, that bunkmate DJ, he kind of reminds me of Chip a little bit.
A little bit, except he's almost like better because he's really interested in all that stuff. Chip, we had to really cajole and pull him and push him, but it's like Chip's like almost like zero nerd quality at all. This kid's got like a good 30% nerd quality.
But we've rubbed off on Chip. He was already into comics, although only had a very limited knowledge. We've expanded that greatly.
That's true. Listen, nobody... Go ahead, Dick.
Yes. We even played a game of Druids of Dragondale.
Yes, we did. But listen, no one loves Chip more than I do. But fact remains, if you had a chance to be at Owl Camp or to be going down to Sacramento to visit a girl, which would you pick? You'd be here at Owl Camp. I know you would. So, as far as I'm concerned, Chip maybe moving on. I really counted on his help with the Owlbear, but...
I'm sorry, did you say Owlbear?
Oh, so you're familiar with the Owlbear of Toloa Pines?
Nobody knows about the Owlbear of Toloa Pines, except for us.
Well, being new to the area, I can't say I've ever heard of it, but do tell.
Well, I've told this story a lot recently, but no, the government, the United States government, the Army to be specific, did create an owlbear, which is a mutant cross between an owl and a bear. During the Vietnam War, towards the latter half, actually. It wasn't actually created until 1978, but the tests began earlier, based on some supposed lycanthropic activity on the part of North Vietnam. Anyway, this owlbear escaped from Oregon's Umatilla Chemical Depot in 1978 and is currently living in the vicinity. And I only wish I brought my conspiracy journal so I could show you various newspaper clippings that prove beyond any reasonable doubt my story, although some people remain very skeptical. I'm hoping to get some solid evidence of the owlbear here at Owl Camp.
Well, I might very much like to see that notebook now. That sounds quite interesting to me.
Well, it's sort of need-to-know information. We don't just divulge this information lightly. So I think if you want to know more, we have plenty to show you. We have some photographic evidence, that's all I'm saying, not of the owlbear, but of something else. But don't worry about that. You're going to have to earn our trust. I'll just say it. So if you can do that, you'll have top secret clearance.
Well, I would very much like to earn your trust. So perhaps I could let you in on a little secret of mine.
Oh, please,
okay.
Do tell.
What would you say if I told you that vampires are real?
Well, I would say finally somebody knows the truth.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've been trying to tell everyone about the real-life dangers of vampires, but nobody will listen. And now you're saying you actually know the truth. You believe that they're real?
Oh, Dickey, I know they're real, he says with a knowing smile.
Well, now you're certainly being very coy. What's this all about now? Are you dating a vampire? Because we've already got one friend who's dating a vampire.
Well, I told you I'd let you in on a little secret. I can't give away all the details.
No, I wouldn't expect that.
Until we've earned reciprocal trust.
Yes, touche. Well, you certainly can't be the vampire because we've seen you out in the daylight. Unless, of course...
Of course, it's the dreaded daywalker.
Daywalker.
Egyptian daywalkers. You know.
Well,
you know all about it, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, we have some experience.
Well, yes, we do, in fact. But, tell me, without perhaps earned enough trust yet to for you to share this with me, but you say you have personal first-hand knowledge. Are you insinuating, sir, that you yourself are, man, I wish I had a mirror. Yes.
Well, just spit it out. Are you a bloodsucker?
He just grins coyly at you.
Oh, man. Okay, well, I'll take that as a yes.
Yes, we're going to take that as a yes. Listen, bloodsucker, we don't want any trouble with you.
Oh, I'm not here to cause any trouble.
You better keep your distance. As you know, we are familiar with all your weaknesses.
That's right.
Now, the funny thing about that is, the folklore and the stories, they don't always get it right.
Well, you don't have to tell me.
Yes, I mean, it's not like we are just going off the basic beginner's guide to vampires. We've gone deeper, and so we can distinguish between what is folklore and what's actually real. So don't you try anything.
Yeah, I'm still not certain that whether you're actually a vampire or whether you just claim to be a vampire. Perhaps you would allow yourself to be subjected to certain proofs?
Well, what do you think will constitute proof? And by the way, I never did answer the question.
Yes, but you're certainly insinuating.
Yeah, I think if he was a real vampire, I don't know why he would tell us.
Well, it could be that he's just seen the Lost Boys one too many times.
Yeah, it is a good. I think there's not too many times to see it, but yes, it's maybe he's influenced by what he's seen on the big screen.
Yes, you know, it's pretty cool to be a vampire in some circles, but I take the Peter Cushing approach to vampires. Usually the best vampire is a dead vampire. Safer that way.
Well, it could be that I just picked up on your conspiratorial leanings and thought I would just put a thought in your head.
Well, how sociopathic of you.
If you don't mind, I'm going to get back to my meatloaf. And me and my friend are just going to continue our private conversations.
And as you guys do that, they begin taking a roll call, calling everybody's name out. And when we won't go through it, obviously, but of course they call out Homer Hines.
Here, present.
And you hear DJ's voice say present when they say the name Dale Johnston.
Dale Johnston.
That's the mysterious DJ.
Yeah, Dale Johnston. That's the name of Pale Dale.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It is.
So he could be Maybe he's Dale Johnston Jr.
Is he P.D. Jr.? Is he the namesake of the famous sandwich, the P.D. Jr.?
Well, you could walk over and go ask him if you were so inclined.
That's true. That's true. Is that Benny King still around here?
He's sitting with you. Still sitting with you. He's finishing up his meatloaf.
Okay. Well, Mr. King, it's been lovely chatting with you. My friend and I have some business to go over, but we shall meet again, and the dance shall continue. It's been a long time since I've met a mind worthy of my own.
Very well. I look forward to seeing you boys tonight around the campfire.
Count on it.
Count on it. That was a good line. Listen, Dickey, sometimes I feel like I've either met one of my greatest friends or I've met my greatest nemesis. I don't know yet. There's something about that Benny King that disturbs me. With his blonde hair.
Yeah,
that makes me really happy because that is exactly what I was hoping to achieve.
Yeah. He's like the anti-Plunger.
Yeah, I don't trust him either.
Kind of reminds me of this creepy guy I saw when I went to visit my uncle at Hargate Penitentiary. Sort of have a creepy vibe. But
yeah, that was also. I was trying to make him sound a bit like Stroker.
Yeah. Stroker. Probably Stroker Jr., for all we know. But vampire, I don't know. He seems a little free with that information if he is one. And if he is just effing with me, as he seems to say he is, then again, how sociopathic of him.
Well, we could, at night, or when he's, away from his cabin, we could sneak in and find some evidence to help us figure out whether he really is a vampire or not.
Yes. Perhaps Ben King will find himself the subject of a little investigating as well.
Well, it sounds like you have a couple options. You could approach DJ and talk to him about, his parentage, or this right now would probably be a pretty darn good time if you were going to rummage through Benny's cabin to do that because everybody's here.
Yes, that's true, but such choices. You know what we're going to have to do? We're going to have to split up.
Okay, yeah.
We maintain radio contact at all times.
Yes, that's an imperative.
Which job are you going to take?
Well, I guess it was my idea to sneak into the cabin.
That's right. Plus, you're a little more stealthy. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
All 73 pounds of you.
I can definitely walk on my tippy toes without stubbing the toe.
Yes. Well, I'll talk to DJ then and see if he's truly a member of the Pale Jail franchise. All right. Maintain radio contact at all times.
All right. So, I think we'll start with Dickey, who leaves the mess hall.
As soon as he's on this mission, though, he's in his stealth mode, so he'll be doing unnecessary movements and all that.
Yeah, like a somersault across an open space, as he's...
Yeah,
totally.
So Dickey leaves the Great Grey Owl Hall and heads to the Great Horned Owl Cabin. Obviously, since he knows that's where Benny King is staying. And you enter, and you see on one of the beds is a bag with the logo of the University of South Carolina on it. So that seems like a pretty safe bet to be Benny's stuff.
Yep. That would be it. Plunger, come in.
The Avenging Condor.
Oh, Yes, this is Bot Boy. I've infiltrated the target's cabin. I'm going to look for evidence now.
Very good.
Over.
Bot Boy. Over, Bot Boy. By the way, we need to discuss that name, but we'll discuss it later.
So, I take it you go through what must be Benny's bag.
Yep.
And
Rummage.
you find, some snacks, a flashlight, various
Vampires don't eat snacks.
bits, pieces.
Well, unless he's involved.
But the one thing you do find that you've not seen before or heard of is there's this large book that it's like a soft cover book, and it's got some like art on the cover, but the title is what really catches your attention, and it's called Vampire, the Mass Charade.
The mass charade.
VAMPYR.
Yes.
The Mass Charade. And it seems to be, you've like flipped through it, it seems to be like a how-to guide to LARP as a vampire. Like basically it's like a LARP game for vampires.
A jackpot. I'm gonna take out my Polaroid camera from my backpack and take some shots of the book. Just, pretending they're kind of like schematics, just flipping through and taking pictures of each page. And probably not each page, but at least the cover and the back and maybe a couple from the inside.
Okay. You flip through it. It details different types of vampires you can be. There's like the punk rock vampires and the preppy vampires and whatever. But I don't know if you want to take pictures of all that. It doesn't really matter. And this is not relevant particularly, but just to anyone listening, yes, I know that actually came out in the Vampire the Masquerade came out in 1991. But whatever.
This is Vampire the Masquerade.
Right,
It's
exactly.
a completely different thing.
So anyway,
Jews of Dragondale came out before Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, Dungeons and Dragons, of course, got all the glory. The Druids of Dragondale was created first.
Yep.
So you get several Polaroids of the contents, and I assume we'll put the book back in the bag and try to make it appear as though it has been untouched. And while that is happening, Plunger, you approach DJ, who is finishing up his meatloaf.
Yes, DJ. I couldn't help but overhear on the intercom, Dale Johnson. Are you any relation to Pale Dale? My friend and I were just curious.
Yeah, that's kind of why I go by DJ.
I see. So, you don't like it when people call you the DJ Junior, then?
I mean, well, that Junior's my dad. I'm technically the third.
Oh, Pale Dale the third. So, very interesting. Yeah, I have some personal experience with the saga of Pale Dale, but we needn't get into all that right now. Well, that is very interesting. So did you enjoy the meatloaf then?
Yeah, it was pretty good, actually.
That's good. It's interesting. My older brother actually worked, till very recently, he worked at Pale Dale for a long time. Yeah. Did you ever meet a guy named Derek by any chance? He was a dishwasher for a while, moved up to fry cook. Of course, now he's a full-time musician, of course. But
yeah, no, I don't Never heard of him. My dad's not really in the business. He kind of got out of it. It's most of my grandma and aunt that run the place now.
All right, well, thank you for satisfying my curiosity. And I guess we'll be seeing you around the cabin later?
Yeah, man. I'm probably going to skip the campfire stuff and just go back and read. I'm not really into that scary story stuff.
Well, certain parts of the Lord of the Rings trilogy I find quite scary in certain places, but I can understand getting deeply into the book if that's what you're doing, but I would still encourage you to come by. You may find some information that could save your life.
I'll think about it.
All right, then. See you later, Rumi. This is Venging Condor calling Bot Boy. Over.
This is Bot Boy. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's totally Pale Dale's the third. He's not junior. He's the third. And the grandmother and aunt run the business. He doesn't seem very connected.
The third, like he's the grandson?
Yeah, he's the grandson of Pale Dale. Of course, I didn't tell him about finding his grandfather's body in the freezer underneath the school or any of that stuff that we've been through. I just thought that would be rude in the circumstances.
Well, yeah. I've got information. I will relay it to you in person.
Yeah, let's meet by the place as a thing where we met that time.
Yeah, that exact spot.
That exact spot. All right.
Well, you guys meet up at the place by the thing.
I would say Prospector Pond. That's
Prospector Pond.
We haven't used that yet.
No. Prospector Pond.
All right, so you meet up at Prospector Pond to.
Sure, I'm sure it's nearby. It's not like way out.
Not too far out.
Yeah.
Yeah, short 5-10 minute hike probably.
Yeah.
Of course, when Plunger gets there, he's all.
Aren't you glad you're not at fat camp right now? You'd be doing laps.
That's right, I know. I can just hear that guy chasing me around. Anyway. So, what'd you find out?
Well,
I'll show him the Polaroids that I took.
Of course.
he's a LARPer.
He's just a very committed gamer. I can actually respect this. He's not. He won't break character. You see?
Yeah, very impressive. I wonder if we should get in on this vampire business.
Provided I am allowed to play as Dr. Otto von Hammer, the feared vampire hunter.
Yeah, I mean, you can, and
I mean, I don't know if a provision is made within the rules for playing vampire hunters. I'm not familiar with the game Vampire the Masquerade.
I think I will play a good vampire, half vampire, half robot.
Interesting.
And we'll just join in on his little game. He doesn't even need to know.
I see.
We'll beat him at that game.
We'll beat him at his own game of, We'll fuck with him back a little bit. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just used that word. I need to remember I was a kid.
Yeah, you're just a kid. That's an adult word.
Well, it's actually a fool's word. My uncle always told me if the only adjective you can think of is effing this and effing that, then you're of a small mind. That's why I belong to the Shakespearean insults BBS on my computer.
All right, so after you guys have met up at Prospector Pond and exchanged your intelligence, it is getting a bit late and time for the traditional campfire. It's not everybody shows up. DJ didn't seem like he was likely to come, and it's very casual. People can show up and have some s'mores and go back to your cabin. I mean, it's not real formal, but you wander over there, and there's quite a few people, with marshmallows on sticks and stuff, and it's nice.
Look at them with their marshmallows on sticks. Amateurs.
It's a poor substitute for the fluff.
Yeah, that's right.
And Benny is seated on a bench, with his stick in the fire, charring a marshmallow. And as you approach, he says, "Well, I'm glad you could make it."
Yeah, I look forward to the campfire and the scary stories very much.
Yes, me too.
Well, one of you boys got a scary story?
Oh, I think we could tell a few.
I think we could oblige you. The only question is, who is going to tell the story? I have a very short story that I could tell you. I could tell all of you, if you'll all just gather around. I'll keep it brief in case my colleague has a tale. This takes place in a little town nearby that many of you know called Jupiter Springs. It happened in the late 1970s to a young lady by the name of Stephanie, a busty young teenage girl who decided to earn some extra money by taking a job babysitting. So, she put out an ad on the bulletin board at the local supermarket, and very soon she got a phone call. And she showed up at this house to do a babysitting gig, and there was a gentleman there, and it was a very nice house, and he welcomed her in, and he said, "Listen, I have to have only one rule tonight. While you're babysitting, please don't touch anything. I was a film executive in Hollywood, and I have a lot of movie memorabilia around the house, so just don't mess with it, because a lot of it's expensive and rare, and if you broke it, it would be awkward." So Stephanie says, "There's no problem, sir." And then she met the two young ones, Liza and Davy. They had a good time. They played a little Monopoly. She has a phone number where she could call the dad in case there was a problem, but there didn't seem to be any problem. And he had told her that if she watched TV, that she should watch TV in his home theater downstairs. It was very nice. The only other TV he had was in the bedroom, and he'd appreciate it if she didn't go in his bedroom. So after the children were in bed, she went downstairs, and she'd been appreciating a lot of the film memorabilia that was around. And she began trying to watch television in the home studio, and there was a statue in the corner of a clown, and it was very disturbing. Every time she would get into the program, she would look over and the clown would be staring at her. And it disturbed her so much, even though she felt a little silly about it, she took a little quilt that was lying on the edge of the couch, and she walked over and covered up the clown statue with it. And she went back to watching television again, and then she heard a rustling, and she looked over, and the blanket had fallen off of the clown statue. She began to feel a little disturbed at this point. Very embarrassed, she went upstairs, and she got on the telephone in the kitchen, and she called the dad, and she said, "Listen, sir, would you mind too much if I just watch TV in your room? Because you have that clown statue down there, and it's really freaking me out." And there was a long pause on the end of the line, and then the dad said, "You listen to me, Stephanie. You get my kids, and you get the hell out of my house. I don't have a clown statue."
Well, I think that was pretty good. I'd tell you mine, but I think I'll save it for another time, perhaps. But mine takes place right here in Taloa Pine.
Well, so does mine. All right, you might want to gather round. So it happened on a night just like this, not too long ago. In these woods, the three heroic boys named Ricky and Skip and Plunger, and they went into a cave, and they heard a growl, but that didn't scare them off, and they went deeper and deeper. They heard another growl, and then they saw it. The creature from the cave. It was gross. It was I can't even describe it. It was so bad. This creature, it was so scary, and there was blood everywhere, and dead bodies, and these kids, though, they stood their ground, and they shot it with lasers, and they hit it with nunchucks and throwing stars, and they thought they killed it. They're pretty sure. And then 1 year later, the creature came back, and the creature and then he left, but then he might have come back. And he could be out here in the woods right now, watching us and waiting until one of us is alone, and then he's gonna eat us all. I mean, eat that guy, and then eat us all. And that's it. So, better be careful, kids.
Well, that sounds almost as scary as that owlbear.
Yeah, well, oh, man, you think who would win in the fight between Owlbear and the creature from the cave?
Creature from the cave. Well, I mean, I think creature from the cave, possibly, hands down.
Yeah?
Yeah, creature from the cave, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It was pretty scary. Even though, well, we don't know anything about that, do we?
No, I mean, I'm not even sure why you're telling this story. It's just...
Well, yeah, it's probably not real. Those kids, no one could be that heroic,
yeah,
right?
He made that story up. Everybody, he made it up. It sounds authentic, but trust me, it's not.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you say so.
We'll just have to hear. Yeah, we'll just have to hear your story another time, as you promised. There'll be more campfires.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, I'm afraid it's getting a bit late for me to tell mine, but perhaps another time. I think I'm going to retire now to my cabin. Thank you for sharing your stories, gentlemen. I'll be seeing you.
Mm-hmm. And you better sleep and upside down or in a coffin. Of course, I'm just reminding you.
Yeah, be careful no wooden stakes fall from the ceiling and accidentally land in your heart.
Because we might know a little something about that. I might not just be a robot. Let's just say I'm also a friend of the night.
Now, are you claiming to be a cyber vamp?
I didn't say that.
He never said that. No, and just as
Well,
I've
that was
never,
strongly implied.
just as I've never claimed to be a vampire hunter that you've probably heard of by the name of Dr. Otto von Hammer. I've taken this guise as a child, or maybe I haven't. These are all things for us to wonder about. You go back to your cabin and you sit with that.
Mm-hmm. Something to think about as you drift off to sleep.
Otto von Hammer. That is a good name for a vampire hunter.
I thought
He
so
says
too.
as he walks off towards his cabin.
I say it's a great name. It's a great multi-purpose name. I mean, big believer in it. There's still something that bugs me about that guy. Maybe he's a simple LARPer, or maybe he's not.
Yeah, maybe that's just his, his excuse in case he gets caught. He'll say, "Oh, I'm just LARPing. It's all."
I'm just LARPing. Yeah. And he can always claim to be, if he is an Egyptian daywalker, which obviously, if he's a vampire, he's an Egyptian daywalker, which he already knows all about. So, anyway, that one bears watching. That's all I'm saying. One of many mysteries we need to solve this season at Owl Camp.
Hey, Dickey, what was that a story you told about the monster in the cave? Was that true?
Don't you worry your little head about that. You don't need to worry. You're safe.
But that was you, right? You and Plunger and your other friend?
Can you keep a secret?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was totally us.
Dude, that's really scary, Elliot
What?
says as you guys are walking back towards your cabin.
Yeah, and let me tell you, when he says secret, he means double dodecatuple secret. Do you understand?
Yes.
You're
Beyond top secret. This is majestic level clearance.
majestic level clearance.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to tell nobody, okay? I promise.
Not even when they torture you.
You're gonna have nightmares, I think, and you're gonna probably speak in your sleep and reveal the secret. So, you better sleep with your nightlight or something.
Yeah, I don't. And sometimes if I have scary dreams, I wet the bed still.
Oh man.
Well, it's a good thing you're on the top bunk over DJ and not me.
And speaking of, as you arrive back at your cabin, you see DJ not in his bunk. His book is sitting out, closed, with a bookmark in it, and his bag, the helping hand bag, is sitting there. But he is not there.
Well, that's weird. He told me he was just going to hang out.
Yeah, pretty strange. I mean, I guess he could have gone to the outhouse, but I think the most likely scenario is that he has been eaten by some type of monster.
Listen, there are two likely scenarios. One of them is what you have just said. If not eaten, then definitely monster related. Okay, perhaps he knows something about the monster that I don't. Perhaps he is the monster. It's also possible, however unlikely, that there is a young lady involved.
You think he could be sneaking off and smooching with ladies in their cabin area?
Well, that's unlikely. As I say, I think it's far more likely that a monster is involved, and obviously the monster that leaps to mind, of course, is
yes, it could be a vampire, but we know about succubi.
Oh no, I was of course referring to the owlbear.
I thought you were going to say a female vampire lured him out.
Oh, no. I meant that either he's been eaten by an owlbear or he's making out with a girl somewhere.
Yeah, but the girl could be a vampire.
Well, there's no signs of struggle in here, are there? The door, everything's fine. Is that correct, Dungeon Master?
Yeah. Everything seems fine. It looks like he just put his book down and walked out.
You know, it's odd for someone who was so into his book to just abandon the book like that.
I know.
You know, it's his prized possession. No one would leave his book out to be, messed with or taken like that.
Well, I think we've been talking here a little bit longer than the standard trip to the outhouse would take.
Yeah, by now he should have been back.
Right. Even if that meatloaf didn't agree with him, he should have been back.
Yeah, I think it was the owlbear.
Well, I don't want to jump to any conclusions. We have to be scientific about this.
I mean, there's so many things we need to rule out. You know, we didn't even mention spirits or coven of witches or Bigfoot.
And I think it's important to realize it could be a completely mundane reason, like he could have wandered off and gotten lost. So I think that maybe we ought to involve the camp authorities here, because if it is a mundane thing, they would be the best equipped to handle that. If it does get into a supernatural, well, that's where we would come in.
Oh, it's supernatural. But, I mean, we got to go through the motions and say, oh, he's just got lost, but, we know the truth.
Like you say, we have to rule out possibilities. We don't want to be embarrassed if it's a mundane possibility. So, as a hedge against embarrassment, if nothing else, I think we should go tell the camp counselors.
Well, they're gonna just say we're making stuff up.
Well, and you know, of course, being veterans of Owl Camp, that there's going to be a pre-lights out roll call where they will identify that...
I'm sure he'll be back by then.
Yeah, if he's not back by then, we'll worry. Yeah, if he's not back by then, we'll worry. Yeah.
Well, he is not, as it turns out, back by then, and when they come down to his name, he is not there to respond. And this does, in fact, seem to alarm some of the adults.
Now it's getting real.
Yeah. And they seem, like they're likely to start making some phone calls and stuff. But you're not sure what all they're going to be doing. Excuse me. But
I'm sure he'll be fine. It's like you said, he just got lost. That's all.
Well, let's hope so, but...
I'm gonna say that, and I'm gonna catch some sleep. He'll be found when we wake up. They'll find him. And kid, what was your name?
Elliot.
Yeah. You mind sharing some of that light from the night light, just a little? Just maybe move it to this socket over here so it can shine on both of our bunk beds.
Yeah, that's cool. And then that way we can see the owlbear.
This
it comes.
It's just for practical reasons.
Oh, you guys go ahead and get some shut eye. I think we'll take first watch.
Good thinking.
And he'll go sit out on the little front porch thingy if there is one, and look out into the darkness through his big eyeglasses. I know you're out there somewhere, Owlbear.
Well, they shut off the lights, and you're allowed to sit out there for a little bit, but eventually a counselor comes by and tells you to get your butt to bed.
Very well. Be careful out there tonight.
Of course, I'll be very careful. We're on the lookout. Oh, he actually says, I'm on bear patrol.
Okay, amateurs. Okay, he'll go back in and go settle into his bottom bunk and look quizzically across the way at DJ's empty bunk.
All right, well, with that mystery introduced, I think that's about where we'll call it for this episode, and we will pick up in the next one. Possibly, I don't know what you guys are going to do. Maybe start some kind of investigation or continue wildly speculating about owlbears and covens of witches and stuff. I don't know. I'm interested to see where this goes.
That's pretty much how we investigate. We just kind of splatter it all over. Hope something sticks.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right. Well, we will see y'all next time.
See you next time, everyone.